Hello and welcome to Model Minutes. In this video I'm going to be answering all of your questions from my 1000 subscriber special. So a little bit different to what I normally do, I'm just going to crack on and answer all the questions that you've posted in the comments. And then I'm going to tell you at the end who's won the mystery prize. So first one up, Scale Modeling Maniac asks, would I do weekly uploads? I do try and do weekly uploads as often as possible, but unfortunately there isn't always time to do that, what with real life getting in the way. So in the future it may not be as consistent, but I'm hoping that it might be. Pendy the First asks, do you have a favourite era of kits that you make? Essentially, do you feel that the modern kits are superior, or is there a past era of kits that were better or had more character and more interesting markings on the decal sheets painting guides? Well, I've not got a great amount of experience of building older kits. Some of you may remember I built my Harrier 1975 vintage one from Airfix. That didn't have a great amount of decals that were required to finish the kit, but I found the plastic to be a little bit different. I think that I really enjoy building modern kits because they've got great detail and they go together really well. But I like building the older ones because they tend to have a bit more play value and I really enjoy that. So hopefully that answers your question. David asks, congratulations on the 1000 and how long have you been modelling and what drew you into it in the first place? I've been modelling for about 15 years now, and I think I was always interested in getting involved, but it wasn't until I went to the Imperial War Museum in London and I wanted a souvenir to take home with me. And the most suitable thing I thought, with your pocket money when you're a child, was an Airfix kit. They didn't have an Airfix Spitfire, which is what I really wanted to do, but they did have a Hurricane Mark II-B starter set, and that's the one I chose. So yeah, after I built that one, I was pretty much hooked and I just never really stopped. So this one, a random YouTuber asks, do you know what the Panzerkampfwagen 6 is? And to be brutally honest, no, I don't. I don't have a clue what that one is. So I'm going to have a quick look online. So apparently that's a Tiger 1 tank. So thanks for that. Thanks for asking a question. And I now have greater knowledge. Also, he asks if I'm ever going to make a diorama of any of the models I might get in the future. I'm hoping to build some dioramas soon using some of the models I've already built, but at the moment I haven't got much space or time to do that, but hopefully I might find some in the coming months. Freaky Frackle asks, what is your favourite colour? Now, I'm not sure I have a favourite colour. I quite like red, but I quite like green as well. If I had to pick one over the other, I'd probably go for green. Random Budgie says, how long have you been modelling and what is your favourite aircraft? What is my favourite modelling kit brand? I think, to be honest, it's probably Airfix because they are what I started on and what are most commonly available in the United Kingdom. I've been scale modelling for about 15 years and my favourite aircraft? Ooh, that's quite a difficult one because there are so many. Maybe a Gloucester Gladiator? The sort of early war, pre-war, the last RAF biplane fighter. I think it's quite an interesting topic because it's not as famous as the other aircraft used in the Battle of Britain, but it was still there. So maybe that one. But I'm also quite a big fan of sort of big jets as well, like the C-17s and Hercs and things. I think they're pretty fascinating because what they can do, they can still fly around a bit like fighter aircraft, but they have massive amount of stuff inside them. So yeah, I'd probably pick older planes over modern planes, but I'm not sure I really have a favourite as such. What is your favourite type of... Oh, right. So Emil asks, what is your favourite type of model and what is your favourite aircraft? So very similar to the previous one. My favourite type of model is probably aircraft models. As you can tell from my channel, I do a lot of those. And... but I am hoping to get more different things on there. I quite like sci-fi as well. I've got a Battlestar Galactica that I haven't even started yet. So hopefully, again, with more time, I'll be able to do that. Which video are you most proud of? Asks Pinder Productions. Probably my Spitfire Beginner's Guide, because that was the one that I really put a lot of effort into and broke it down. Beforehand, I've been using, an assumption that everybody sort of knew how to do some modelling, but now with that one, I went into more depth and I'm quite happy, and it seems to be doing really well with views and things, and I'm getting quite positive feedback about it as well in the comments. So that's probably my best video to date. Peter asks, do I have any other hobbies beside modelling? I was quite into surfing and cycling and things like that. I do play the odd computer game as time allows, but I think, to be honest, with family life and work life, that modelling is probably my primary hobby at the moment. So let's move on to the next question. Oliver asks, would I ever, if the funds allowed, make a 1-to-1 scale replica of a model you have, just like James May did in Toy Stories? I don't think I would make a 1-to-1 scale replica of a model I have, because I just don't have the space for it. If it was going to go somewhere in a museum perhaps, then yeah, I probably would if I was given the chance. But if it was for my own personal use, I probably wouldn't. The model I'd probably pick would be the P40 in the Battle of Britain scheme that I built previously, and you can find the video of it on my channel, as I was pretty proud with the finish I had achieved with this one. And it would also help raise awareness, if it was in the museum, to the fact that the P40 was used by the British in the Second World War. And it's more commonly known, however, that the Americans had it. So I think that would be a pretty interesting piece for a museum to have. Fine Kits asks, what do I want to be when I grow up? Well, I'm already an adult, so if I haven't pretty much done it already, I probably won't ever do it. But when I was a child, I wanted to be a train driver. So I can tell you that unfortunately didn't occur. That's not what I do for a living. But it's still something that I'd like to have a go maybe one day. So thanks for that question. Wing Commander Waffles asks, does he ask anything? Wing Commander Waffles asks a question, but he doesn't want to be included in the draw. So I'll see what he says. If I could turn any one of my models into the real thing, so it's similar to the one we had previously about being 1-to-1 scale, but an actual real thing this time around, which model would it be? And hands down, it would definitely be my X-Wing from Star Wars, as how cool would it be to fly around in an X-Wing? That would be just possibly the best day of your life. So that's what I'd turn into a real thing. Adrian asks, why did I start modelling? I think I've already answered this one about when I went to the Imperial War Museum and wanted to build a Spitfire, but they didn't have any, so I bought a Hurricane. But I think before that, maybe it was watching Thomas the Tank Engine as a child. They used actual models rather than CGI because it wasn't available at the time. And, Thunderbirds and tugs. Some of you might remember tugs, which is using model ships to tell stories. I think maybe that's what got me started, because you see it on the television, you wanted to replicate it. As I got a bit older and I got a few more skills, that's when I started to do modelling. So again, Eleanor asks the very same question, but also, why not have a hobby like painting or fishing? I'm terrible at painting. Painting models I can do, but painting people and things, watercolour, that sort of thing, I've tried it and I'm just no good. And fishing, I mean, yeah, okay, I'd like to give fishing a go, like to catch a fish and actually take it home and eat it, but I'm not 100% sure that I really have the patience to sit there and do nothing for ages waiting for the fish. I mean, I know you need patience with modelling, but you're always doing something with a model, whereas I think that when you're fishing, you're probably not. So yeah, that's probably why I'd pick modelling over fishing any day. Laurent asks, how would you do weathering with acrylic brush painting? So I think I'd do the dry brushing technique with that one. So with dry brushing, what you need to do is dip it in the paint, your paintbrush, and then dry it off on some towel or something. So you've just got a residue left on your paintbrush, and then you can use that almost like a weathering powder. that's what I would do with acrylics, as I've done it before. And if you look at my P40 video, you'll see the effects of that. And it came out quite well, but you do have to be a bit careful with it because acrylic is pretty much permanent. And once it's dry, it's very hard to get off. Anthony Beach says, what do I do with my kits once they are completed? Some of them go up on my shelf, some of them get put into storage if I don't have space, and unfortunately I do have to sell the ones that take up too much space because at the moment I haven't got much room for them. So yeah, if you'd like to own some of my models, just let me know and I'll see what I could do. Easy asks, what do you like more, planes, helicopters, ships or tanks? So yeah, as before, I think I might have answered this one already. Planes are probably my favourite. I do like trains. I really do like trains, and I'd like to have my own model railway, but again, I haven't got the space for it. But I'm happy to build anything, really. As long as it's a scale model, I'll definitely give it a go. Let's keep going down. Pong asks, what's your favourite model brand? So again, I think it's probably Airfix, mostly because they're the ones I'm most popular in the UK and I'm most familiar with. How to Cameron's younger brother says, what do you think is the best part of modelling and what do you find fun? Well, I sort of go through different phases. Sometimes I really like building the models, other times I like painting them, sometimes I quite like the decals, but I think maybe it's the actual assembly part. If I didn't have to paint a kit, I probably wouldn't, so that's probably the most favourite part for me. LC asks, how do you manage to keep your modelling videos so simple and accessible? I think what I set out to do when I started this channel, having watched other people on YouTube, I found that they sort of beat around the bush and talk about a lot of stuff that you don't really understand, or, you know, if you're a really pro modeler, you might understand it. So what I wanted to do was just to get to the absolute bare facts and just talk about it in the simplest form. I think that if you're given too much information, it gets confusing and it puts you off. So I think that what I've set out to do and keep it simple and try and help people and just get straight to the meat of the topic at hand, probably why my videos seem accessible and simple. So yeah, that's a great question. Thanks for asking. ATN Orange asks, what's my favorite thing to model? So again, we've got quite a lot of these here. Again, the answer is probably going to be planes and trains. Scale Modeling Maniac asks, out of the subscriber showcase episodes, which model do I like the most? Well, they've all been great. I think out of pure interest that I have in aircraft, it's probably the Bolton Pool Defiant and the Blenheim, because I'm quite interested in slightly unique and different aircraft that don't have as much fame as others, you know, like the Spitfire and Hurricane from the Second World War. And the Defiant is different in the sense that its guns are all in a turret, and it's supposed to be a fighter aircraft, which just seems like a bit of a blur of two different things joined together. So maybe that sort of thing, purely because of the sort of prototype that it represents. He also asks, what type would be best, an air compressor or gravity feed airbrush? My experience with airbrushes is very limited. I wouldn't actually know that one, but I'm hoping to get an airbrush soon. So maybe I'll do a bit of research and I'll let you know as my channel evolves. NC Shy Guy asks, what's my favourite model that I've built or want to build? Well, when I was younger, I built a B-29, and that was pretty awesome. It's still somewhere hidden in storage somewhere, so maybe one day I'll be able to put some photos of that up on YouTube. But I think probably something I would want to build is something like Enterprise from Star Trek, or, you know, the Voyager, or something. Oh, I'd like to have a go at some Halo type models. I know Revell do those. But I think maybe at the top of my list would be a 1/24 scale Spitfire. I've got one in my stash, but I haven't started it yet because I just haven't had the time or the space. So yeah, thanks for asking. Jamie asks, how can you keep the cost of scale modelling to a minimum? So what I do is I shop around. I'll go to clearance places, charity shops, to see if I can get kits cheaper than they are in regular shops. Online sometimes is a good place to look. Second hand might be a good option, but be careful with eBay. I found that eBay, people put things on that they think they're worth X amount, when in actual fact you could probably get it new cheaper. Another good idea, and is what I do, for anniversaries, birthdays, Christmas, etc., put model kits down on your list, because people aren't necessarily going to buy you one just for having a good day or just because they like you or whatever. But on your birthday or Christmas, that's when I think people would be going, oh, okay, yeah, so, he's had his Spitfire before, but let's get him something bigger. Let's get him something special, like a Lancaster or whatever. So I think that's a really good question, and I hope that helps. PC Plod asks, of all the models I've built, which one am I least pleased with? And how would I resolve the issue if I were to redo the kit in the future? That question can be answered by the Airfix HMS Victory kit. You can see the video of that on my channel. I'm not happy with that one completely, because I feel like I could do a better job with the paints. It wasn't as neat and as tidy as I would like. At the time, I was quite happy with it, but having looked at it over the last year or so, I'm not 100% happy, and if I were to do it again, I would definitely put more effort into that one. Mona asks, do I want to make Model Minutes my future career, or will it just stay as a hobby? If I could do this as a future career, I probably would, but it would have to mean that the money I was making from it, and just to let you know, I don't make any money from this at the moment, would have to equal or exceed what I already make in my full-time job. So until that could happen, it will have to stay as a hobby, unfortunately. If you guys would like to see me do this as a career, then let me know in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Paul asks, many of us have worked with plastic and have seen a lot of techniques related to working on plastic models. He's currently working on a submarine and has added a wooden deck, and would like to know what the best techniques for painting and realistically weathering wood would be. I've not got a great experience of working in wood, but I think I'd probably use the same techniques I use for plastic. I'd use the dry brushing and the staining that you can do with acrylic and enamel paints. That's probably the best idea I have, but I'm sure there's a specialist modeler out there somewhere on the internet which might have better ideas than that. Especially if it's something you intend to use like a remote control submarine, so it can go up and down in water. But I think pastels as a weathering tool might be a good idea for that one. And that is all the questions I have on the video submitted before the deadline. So now, big question is, which one do I think is the best one? So I've had a bit of a think about who I think should win the mystery prize, and I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who's asked the questions so far, and they're all great questions. But the reason why I've picked this question is because it makes me question myself as a modeler. It makes me constantly thinking about what I need to do to improve. So the winning question was PC Plod and which one am I least pleased with, and how would I resolve the issue if I were to redo the kit in the future. So massive congratulations to you. You've won a mystery prize. What I need you to do now, PC Plod, is email me your postal address and I will send that mystery gift to you as soon as I can. I like your question because it just, as a modeler, it makes you think about how can I constantly improve my work. And it's not just about what I would do with the kit, it also reflects on my channel. How can I make my channel better for you? So thank you for helping me push that boundary and make this world a better place. So all that's left to say is thank you to everybody who asked questions and has watched and subscribed over the last couple of years. So I'm now at my 1,000 subscriber milestone, and hopefully we'll get to 2,000 soon. So maybe some suggestions about what you'd like to see for that in the comments underneath, and I'll see what I can do. So as always, thanks for watching. Don't forget you can get into contact with me on social media. I'm on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook, and I'll see you all again next time.